Good morning. Welcome to the Take Your Life Back Today show. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and your host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today show. It is a ice cold Wednesday morning here down in Virginia, early in the morning, but it doesn't stop me from bringing our messages, your requests into your home, into your rehab centers, your homeless shelters, and possibly even into correction facilities. Let's talk about 6 ways to tell the difference between sadness and depression, because a lot of people that are sad appear depressed, and a lot of people that are depressed obviously appear sad. People sometimes believe that the difference between sadness and depression is one of degree, as if people are just feeling sad measure a 1 on the feelings that are hard to deal with scale, while depressed people hover around somewhere between 7 and 10 out of the 1 to 10 scale. Here's number 1. You can still enjoy things you like. Sadness, being seriously bummed, can be terrible, but even if you're sad, you're still able to enjoy things like pie. If you want to watch TV, maybe Archie Bunker, or stuff that you love to do period before you were sad had hit you, you can still enjoy doing them. It may take a bit of persuasion, but you can get into it at the end as long as you have that motivation behind you. But depressed, on the other hand, one of the most important aspects of depression is experience of anhedonia, or lack of interest and enjoyment in the activities that you used to love doing, maybe like writing, maybe skydiving, whatever it might have been. You just don't have the anxiety or the motivation to do it. If you absolutely loved kickball, writing, or anything like that, it is a fog. It is worse than sadness. It is called depression. Number 2 are your emotions about a specific event or a thing. Sadness, on one hand, this is an interesting one, my folks. Because there is not a distinct line, you may just feel sad for a reason you can't put your finger on it. However, often sadness is specific in its cause itself, the death of a relative or some sort of change in your life, maybe homesickness, a friend's illness, you name it, a relationship problem. However, depression, let's be clear here, depressive episodes can be triggered by specific events, such as all the ones that sadness, but those events have caused you not to get out of the sadness, and it's gotten into a full force depression stage. Number 3, are you maintaining normal eating and sleeping routines? In sadness, you may be badly upset after a breakup or even experience the blues in general, but in a whole, you're still able to maintain your desire to eat, work, maybe even go for a jog if you want, or get sleep roughly as planned as usual. However, depression, this is one of the DSM-5 definitions. Depression is often associated with a serious disruption in normal eating patterns, sleeping patterns, or living patterns. You may become insomnia or sleep all day and not want to get up. Number 4, friends, is do you experience variations in your low mood? In sadness, the blues are not a life sentence, even though many classic jazz songs may tell us otherwise, and there's room in there for alleviation. You have periods where you don't feel sad at all, and then suddenly the sadness comes back, like you were doing something distracting, for instance, and then you're not doing that anymore. That sadness just reappears. But however, depression, in moderate depression, low mood is fairly consistent throughout the day, though you may get bright spots sometimes. In severe, very severe depression, depressive episode is constant, daily, seemingly unrelenting, never to go away. Number 5, do you experience self-punishing or extremely self-critical thoughts, my friends? In sadness, while you might feel responsible and a bit sucky for something bad you have done in your past, you often don't experience any permanent sense of worthless guilt. However, in depression has its own special host of accompanying thought patterns, some of which are particularly strange. One of the most distinctive features is that your thoughts often become incredibly self-punishing. It's difficult to see yourself as anything except for rotten, bad, worthless, and you blame yourself for everything. Last but not least on the list here is, have you had self-harming thoughts, suicidal thoughts? In sadness, suicidal ideation is not typically associated with normal levels of non-depressive sadness. However, in depression, severe depressives may sometimes take the self-punishing thoughts mentioned in the previous item to higher levels. As described, the DSM who's struggling with severe depression may have had suicide thoughts or other critical thoughts. Folks, these 6 ways to tell the difference between sadness and depression are very clear. Sadness is something that eventually, hopefully, will go away. Sadness also can go away within an hour or two, but depression, if you're at that depressive stage, things just don't look good in your eyes. Number 1, can you still enjoy things like, well, sadness you can. In depression, people just, they don't feel excited about anything in life anymore. Number 2, are your emotions about a certain thing in your life? In sadness, it can be. Could be grieving over a loved one, like today, my mother's 2nd birthday in heaven. After a year and a half, because she was killed May 31st, 2016. After a year and a half, I'm still very sad. But I'm not, on the other hand, depressed over it. There's a difference. Sadness is grieving. It could be loss of a friend. Depression is when you just don't know what to do and you have some funky thoughts in your mind. Number 3, maintaining normal eating, sleeping routines. When you're sad, you're able to still have a desire to eat, work out, even go to work. But when you're depressed, everything is thrown into full circle. And in some cases, you might even want to sleep the whole day away and not even get up. Variations in your mood and sadness. The blues come and go. You will be sad here and there. But in depression, in moderate depression, low mood is fairly consistent throughout the day. Nothing changes. And number 5, do you experience self-punishing or extremely self-critical thoughts? In sadness, my friends, you might never experience permanent sense of worthless or guilt. But in depression, suicidal thoughts do come to your mind, and you constantly feel worthless, and you don't know which way to turn. Number 6 is, have you had self-harming thoughts? And sadness, suicidal ideation is only typically associated with normal levels of non-depressive sadness. However, severe depression in depression may sometimes take the self-punishing thoughts mentioned in the previous item to higher levels. Some people that are depressed do not want to commit suicide, but they try it to draw attention. Folks, if you have any of these signs for depression, not for sadness, because sadness is common in our lives, but if you have any of these signs in depression, please seek out help immediately. Get a hold of someone. You can call me at 844-405-HELP, because we can help each other take our lives back, folks. But you need to do something. And if you are either in the sadness mode or in a depressive mode, reach to God. Ask God to guide and direct you. Thank God for everything you have. Remember, if you're watching me, God has blessed you with 86,400 seconds to breathe and live today. That is a huge plus in your life. Because if you don't have that 86,400 seconds, you are not alive. You are not watching me. Reach to God and say, thank you, God. And remember, always thank God for everything you do have. And stop dwelling on the things you don't have. Because if you have a little, you have something. But if you want everything, you will end up with nothing. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Because together, you and I, we can help each other take our lives back. And may God bless you.